Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Open to Work Beyond the Label, the podcast for talent in transition. Today, I am joined by Erin McKone. She is an accomplished operations and IT leader who has built a reputation for transforming IT into strategic enabler of business growth. She's led cross-functional teams, managed complex integrations, and created scalable, secure infrastructures that empower people to do their best work. What I love most about Erin's story is how she blends the technical with the human, focusing not just on the systems, but the people behind them. Today, we're diving into how she's built a bridge between technology and transformation and what it really means to lead with both strategy and empathy in IT. I am extremely excited to have Erin here. So, Erin, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. That was such nice things that you said about me.
So I met Erin as we were working on a project together and generally just love your energy, Erin. And so I'm so excited to hear more about you beyond what we've talked about in the past. So, Erin,
Yeah.
if you don't mind sharing with everyone, who are you behind the titles and the labels that we see on LinkedIn?
I feel like this won't come as a surprise to you, but I really love having fun. Like, I love laughing all the time. It is what gives me life. But besides that, I love spending time with my family. I have two boys and my friends, and because they make me laugh and they make me have fun. But then recently, since having my boys, I got into cooking, which I'm kind of surprised about. I wanted to make sure that I'm giving them a full meal of all of like the nutritional needs that they need. So I've really been into cooking lately and then just maintaining that work-life balance with my boys so that I can be there for them, but they also have like a strong working mom. I think that's really important because I grew up that way. And then just a little bit on my backstory. So I went to the University of New Hampshire and I went to the Manchester campus. So I was a communications major and I made the decision to go to UNH Manchester because it's a commuter school. I really liked that I could save money and continue working. So I've kind of always been working. So this is definitely an adjustment for me. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
So, yeah, it doesn't come to a surprise that you like to have fun because even when we were working on an IT project together, we had a ton of fun.
Yes.
Your laugh is infectious, and so we spent a lot of time laughing. Uh, what's something that you've enjoyed cooking lately? Like, what's a good meal that you would say that's
Yes.
been your favorite?
So I made a creamy chicken noodle soup because it's soup season. So that's like on repeat. And I just very much enjoy making it. And it has everything in it. So it's a very like complex meal that's great. And then I can have a lot of it. So I'm really enjoying that one. It's on, can't remember her Instagram name, but I got it from Instagram. Oh, it's Here's Your
So,
Bite. That's what it is.
okay, well, send me that one.
I
I
will.
recently made a lasagna soup, and I'll send you that one.
Yes, please. I've wanted
It's
to
high
try a lasagna
protein.
soup. I love a high protein. I got boys, gotta give them protein.
Oh yeah, yeah, they need it.
They do.
That's good. So, and then makes sense that you went to school for communication. So now I need to
Mhm,
know how
mhm.
did you actually get into IT and operations coming from a communications background?
Yeah, so while I was in school, I was working at a local restaurant, and it got to a point where I wanted a little bit more work-life balance. I was working every weekend, I was working nights. It was just kind of draining. I couldn't do it anymore as an adult after going through college and stuff like that. So I chose to leave and I was just looking around and I wanted to find something that I could kind of use those skills. So I found through one of my friends, she was friends with someone that worked at Alku, and they were like, they have the front desk role that's open. And so I started at the front desk. I did not think that I was going to be in IT, but here I am today. So I was doing front desk work, but then I was also doing provisioning onboarding. I really thrived doing the technology aspect of the role. There was two completely different pieces, and I was thriving with setting people up with their accounts and making sure that they had everything that they needed for their first day. And so I gravitated towards that. And then I was an operations coordinator. And then I just kept getting more and more responsibilities as the company was growing. And then I was transitioning in my role. So I went from an operations coordinator to a senior operations coordinator to then an enterprise technology manager. And then I was the senior manager of enterprise technologies. So I was not expecting to be in IT.
For anyone who's ever started a new job, they probably would appreciate the work that
Hmm.
you would do before they started because
Hmm.
it's already nerve-wracking to start a new job, but then
Hmm.
not having the right tools, the right systems, the right access makes it
Hmm.
more stressful. So I can guarantee that the work that you've done has made a lot of people's lives better on their first day at work.
Yes. And then I would train people on those things after. So I was before and after they started. So it was good. I learned a lot.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, having the access is one thing, but having the training is the next. So that's
Exactly.
critical. So you talk a lot about empowerment and efficiency. And
Hmm.
now I'm thinking about, all these end users that you're empowering to be able to effectively and efficiently use their tools. What do
Hmm.
those words really mean to you at a personal level?
I am very thankful that I got to work with my previous boss, Alexia. I learned so much from her. I don't think that I would be the person professionally that I am today, personally and professionally, honestly, that I am today without like her influence on things. And she always encouraged me to make mistakes. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't like we couldn't fix it. We were the ones that controlled all of the systems. So if I was making mistakes in my day to day, it was something that we could fix, and she was always right beside me fixing those things. So I really think that that gave me the reassurance that I was able to then pass on to the people that I would then become to lead. So I think that she played a big role in that. And then I always said the same thing to my people. I always said, like, I'm not going to get mad at you if you make a mistake. We're humans. We make mistakes. It happens and we can always fix it. The other piece to it that I learned from Alexia is that she was always going to bat for us at any time that she could. She was always there with us, understanding what was going on and then advocating for us when we need those. And then in turn of that, I got to see how she did that. And it was always, she would always say, increase your circle of worry. So just talking to all of the people. So then making it their problem too, or something that they should be worried about too. And so then I gained that skill from her. And I think that was the way that we became the most efficient, is getting people to understand the why in what we were doing. So
That's great. And let me say, I loved Alexia too.
I love that girl. She's the best.
My gosh, having an like a powerful leader that
Hmm.
goes to bat for you, that gives you feedback, that allows you to fail is important in
Hmm.
your career. And then the leader that you become is often based on the great leaders that came before you. And so
Yeah.
it's great to hear that she was able to influence you in that way and inspire the kind of leader that you are, because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, people work better when they're empowered and they
Hmm.
work more efficient when they're empowered. So that's really good feedback. Alexia, I have to say this story about her because it's just fun. Alexia was encouraging me to watch this show one day. Did you ever watch it?
Yes.
Okay, so I watched it on the way, I think to Germany or home, not Germany. Where I was going somewhere, like a far place, okay? I was going to
Yeah.
a far place in Europe. I was watching this on the plane. Boy, did she not warn me, and I was hysterical on
This
the
is not a
plane.
plain movie or a show.
I wish I knew. I was like, my husband's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, like
Watch
hyperventilating.
it in your home. Do not
Oh
watch
my
it in
gosh.
public.
Okay, yeah. So that's one thing that she didn't warn me of, but I'm really glad that she had me watch that because that was impactful. Just to again remember, like
Yep.
appreciating the people around you, appreciating your
Mhm.
circumstances,
Yep.
appreciating that things don't last forever, good and
Mhm.
bad. And
Yep.
so that was a really good show. Just saying,
Yeah.
don't watch it on
If
a
anyone
plane.
needs to watch it, watch it, but not on a plane.
Yeah, by yourself in a dark room and have tissues and water.
Yes. You will be
Um,
dehydrated.
yeah, yeah. It's a rough one. Okay. So speaking of staying grounded,
Mhm.
How do you, Erin, stay grounded in high pressure and high change environments? Because I know your last role, there was a lot of change
Mhm.
and that
Yep.
was really consistent. So how do you stay
Mhm.
grounded in those times?
Yeah. Having fun. Even if I was working, I was always trying to be lighthearted about it because it kind of de-stresses everybody in the room while they're getting the work done. And it was always I would never expect my team to do something that I wasn't doing. So if they were ever in a high pressure situation or like everything was changing all at once, I was doing it with them because I think that that's what makes a good leader is understanding what your team is doing, not micromanaging, but showing up and saying like, okay, what do you need me to do? I'm here to be the helping hands that you need. I'm not going to dictate what's going on. You tell me what to do. And then we would like play music while we were doing it and just be relaxed so that we can get through it and then all hands on deck. That was really every all the time, honestly, because of all the different departments that I oversaw. There was always something happening in each department, and so I would treat them all the same. And then I would also remind everyone that we weren't saving lives. We were just maybe fixing the phones or onboarding people. We would get through it, and I would know that kind of what you said is that things change. It's always forever moving, so even if it was bad, we would eventually get to the good. And I had been through it so many times that I knew that we would make it out on the other end and be okay. So, just reminding them that.
Yeah, that's really inspiring because here's the thing, we're all going to go through hard times at work. We're all going to have situations that are not expected. We're going to have a lot of
Mhm,
change, especially in a growing business.
mhm,
Change is, again, the only constant. And so, how you deal with the change and the attitude that you have makes all the difference in how it actually feels to be in that place in that
mhm.
moment. And
Yeah.
choosing to be positive, choosing to work together, choosing to have fun makes
Mhm,
all the difference in these really high pressure environments.
mhm. Yep, it really does. The amount of times that I got to laugh with my team, like, I'm so thankful for those relationships that I built because we were having fun in those high pressure situations.
Yeah, and that's what makes a real team.
Mhm.
Is having fun together and knowing and I love that you said, like, we're not saving lives, so
No,
you
we
can,
were
like,
not.
you can calm down. We're gonna get through this together. It's teamwork.
Yeah.
And then being in the room and getting hands on. That's the kind of leader that I
Mhm,
am as well. Like I also
mhm,
would never ask my people to do something that I wouldn't do or haven't done in my past. And
mhm,
sometimes it's not comfortable, but at the end
mhm,
of the day, we've got a mission to accomplish. And so even if that means I got to get hands on to make sure you're
mhm.
successful, that's important.
Yeah. I'll do whatever you need me to do.
There you go. There you go. I always say they're my boss, you know.
Yeah, literally.
I
Yes.
work for them at the end of the day,
Yes. I would have said that about Carla too. I worked for Carla. Carla was just telling me what to do, and I was showing up for her in any way that I could.
and I'm sure she loves you for it.
Yes.
So Erin, we all have opportunity areas, things that people might consider weaknesses. But what do
Mhm.
you feel is something that used to feel like a weakness, but actually now you see it as a superpower?
Um, my big personality. Sometimes in the room, I'm not everyone's favorite person, because I am very loud and I say what I say what's on my mind. I tell people how I feel about something. So that was always something that I was like, well, people are gonna hate me. And at the end of the day, it was it was the people that actually did love my personality that I was able to, like, utilize and help me grow. So one of those being Alexia. She would never sugarcoat things for me when I needed to kind of reel my personality in, and I had to learn that along the way. She always gave me constructive criticism, and I was always super thankful for that, and I never took it as, "Okay, this is, like, a knock on my personality." She's trying to get me to be the better version of myself, and she can see that. So I have been able to harness all that strong energy into being the better professional that I am today.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I love is we're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea because people
Mhm.
like you and I are champagne.
I love that analogy.
I'm loud too, and I say what's on my mind also. And
That's
I
why we
will
got
tell
along
you
so well.
exactly. And here's the thing, yep, not everyone likes it, but
Mhm.
I am who I
Yeah.
am and it is what it is. And of course, as leaders, we do need to know our audience and there's a
Yep.
time and a place for everything. And there will be times where I adjust my personality, especially in
Yep.
sales, to meet the expectations in the room. But
Mhm.
also, if I can't be myself, I'm probably in the wrong room, you know?
Yep. I agree with that. That was something that I also had to come to terms with a big personality is that like if you don't like me then you're not going to like me and I can't change that about myself, but I shouldn't have to change who I am to fit in to whatever situation this is. And also Alexia was the best. And she was able to help me like adapt how I would say things or approach a situation so that I could use my personality to manage those situations. Depending on if I was talking to the C-suite or just a desk level employee, she really helped navigate that for me. So I completely agree with that because you can get yourself into some tricky situations. So,
Yeah, totally. Uh,
mhm,
I think there's so many different aspects to this. On the one hand, and this was on my last episode, whenever this posts, the last episode prior
mhm,
to this, the woman I was speaking to said, people's opinion of you is not your business, right? So
mhm,
people are going to have
yeah,
opinions of you, and that's none of your business. All you have to do is
mhm,
focus on how you feel about yourself, and I think that's really
mhm,
important. But again, when you're looking to climb in your career, I do think,
mhm,
you're making great points, which is that also you just have to time and place adjust,
yep,
maybe think about how you approach the conversation, especially if you're trying
mhm,
to get to your next level in your career, because we all have stuff that we can work on. And to your point, you're willing to
mhm,
learn, you're willing to hear
yep.
feedback, you're willing to adjust. But at the end of the day, the big personality doesn't go away.
No, I don't know how to not be me. That's just
Exactly.
me.
And I like who you are, so keep shining, girlfriend. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, when you think about operational excellence, where do
Mhm.
you think most organizations go wrong and how would you fix it?
The biggest thing is like forgetting to listen to people. Just as I have climbed the leadership ladder, I always made it a point to talk to everyone on my team because it's so important to hear the people that are doing like the admin or the coordinator roles, what they're doing with, because yeah, I did those things, but I'm not doing them now. And we've changed so many things since 5 years ago, since 2 years ago. So I don't know what they're feeling in the day to day of what they're doing. So if you stop listening to people when you're making those decisions, it's going to not help in the long run, whether that's changing a system that they're using or their day to day. It can really disrupt things and derail the end goal that you're trying to get to. So making sure that when you're making decisions, you're talking to those people that are doing the day to day work.
Well, you proved this in practice when we worked together on that project
Mhm,
because you made sure that we were in front of every different user group, watching how they
mhm,
were using the systems, getting feedback
mhm,
on what needs to be improved and what we need to do differently. So you're
mhm,
making such a good point. As leaders, we can't know everything that happens on the ground. Otherwise, we're
mhm,
probably not efficient ourselves. And so it's
mhm.
important to get the feedback directly from the end users as needed to make
Yep.
sure that we're educated before making a potentially big change that could impact the
Mhm.
organization. Maybe not in the best way if we're not educated.
Yeah, because we were hearing things from people in like the C-suite, and then we would talk to the desk level employees, and they're like, "No, we don't need that. We don't use that." And it's like, okay, well, now we really need to adjust how we're approaching the situation because if they're not using it, but they think that we need it, that's not something that we necessarily need to move forward with.
Yeah,
And then bringing that to approaching that in the right way to be like, you said this, however, people don't need it. And so that's also like a tricky conversation to have too, of just bringing the facts rather than the feelings of things.
absolutely. That's a great point. So will you
Mhm.
share, I just gave an example. Sorry, I might have stole your example, but can you can you share an example of a system or process you've streamlined that had real impact on the business?
When I was at the front desk, a part of my responsibility was getting snacks for the employees and getting supplies and things like that. And I noticed that we were spending a lot of money on plastic cups that were just getting thrown away. So then I did a whole presentation with the C suite about how we can save money on getting reusable cups. And I did that and it went into effect. And I was super proud of that. It wasn't like the whole company was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it was that I was able to see the problem, figure out what to do next, and then present on that. And that was totally out of my comfort zone, but I was able to then learn from that and say, oh, I can actually do these things. I then went on to build the provisioning team because when I first started, it was just me. And Alexi was my manager and she would help me whenever she could, but it was just me doing the job. And when I first started, it was a one-sided sheet where it was like, okay, the user's name, their laptop, okay, you need to sign them into this. And today it's totally different. It's automated and it's so much more efficient than what it was. And from when I started my career at Alku to the end of it, I was able to do that, and I think that that was probably one that had a huge impact on the company, whether people necessarily saw it or not, but I know that it had an impact on the company because I was able to do things more efficiently.
So first, can I thank you for the impact you've made on the environment? Because like plastic cups are a problem.
Wow. There's so many.
Oh my goodness. So thank you for that because that alone you probably did make an insane impact on the environment. So thank you.
Yes.
And yes, if no one likes to do the manual work and no one
Mhm.
really likes to use spreadsheets to manage a business. So I can guarantee automating those processes made an immense impact. And actually, there's a ton of organizations who need that help because a lot of people are
Yes.
still operating on spreadsheets. Just saying.
We were for a very long, and it's really sad because I got us onto spreadsheets and that was not the best solution, and then Carla came along and we were able to make it a lot better.
As
Mhm,
leaders, the people that we hire can make
mhm.
all the difference. And so making sure that we're
Yes.
hiring people that have different
Mhm.
skill sets that can bring things to the table are important. Like I have hired people that I'm on the phone with and I'm like, I think this guy is so much smarter than me and I'm going to hire
Mhm.
him.
Yeah. Carla was the best thing that ever happened to me. We clicked so well in our working styles, and she is so, so smart. She is like anything that I would ask her to do, she would instantly come up with a solution to the problem and change things for the better. Like, I could sing her praise forever because she's so smart and she is a doer. She just gets things done. So I firmly believe that. Find someone who is smarter than you and better at you than the job because you will learn a lot from them. I learned so much from her and I grew so much from her. I had a great situation of Alexia being my mentor and then overseeing Carla. I was in a great, teamwork sandwich, I guess you could say.
We love a teamwork sandwich.
I know. I don't know if that's a thing, but I just couldn't come up with whatever I wanted to say.
I mean, I'm down with it. I love sandwiches and I love teamwork, so it works. So, Erin, IT moves very fast. How do you
Mhm.
foster innovation without overwhelming teams?
I always tried to plan ahead and then figure out what was gonna make the best impact because there's 1,000 options for everything, but you at the end of the day, you have to figure out what's the most important thing that needs to get done right now. And for the longest time, we put so many things on the back burner because there were so many more impactful things that were going on. But then what I was talking about before is making sure that you're talking to your team is like what was going to be the most impactful to them and their day to day to make sure that things were efficient. So being in the know of what they were doing, not necessarily of micromanaging them, but like checking in with them. These are the things that you're going through. Like the amount of And I know people say that having meetings is sometimes redundant, but when you're a leader, it's so important to know what's going on with your team so that you can make those decisions. And I learned so much from my team about what they were doing in their day to day of having those weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings with them. So just knowing what they're doing and then planning ahead for that.
Yeah. In
And then saying no.
IT, yes, bingo to saying no. Yes. Because in IT, there's projects are never ending.
No, never.
So ultimately, being able to prioritize is critical, making sure
Yeah.
you're talking with your team about what is the priority, and then ultimately saying no, because sometimes people like me might have a million priorities and I want them all done. So at some
Yes.
point, in IT, you got to say no to the end user who wants everything done.
Yeah, no, you really have to learn how to say no and say it in like a constructive way that they understand why the no is there. And that's always a hard conversation to have. It's not fun telling someone no, but sometimes it needs to be said. So,
You're
yeah,
so
telling
right.
people no.
Absolutely. So you've been described as someone who makes IT human. How do you bring personality and empathy, in this case, like we're talking about, into
Mhm.
such a technical field?
Um, so it's a little hard because I don't know because it's just who I am. Like I was saying before, I don't know how to not be me. I don't know how to not have a personality and like dampen my personality. And I also like to think that I'm empathetic. I also like to think that I lead with empathy when I'm talking to my people. I very much cared about the people that I work with, like genuinely on to my core. I care about people. I don't know how to not care about people. I care about strangers on the internet, and if they're crying, I'm crying. I love people. I think being a human is so wonderful, and I think it's such a unique experience that we get to have, and everyone is so different. So, I don't know how to not be empathetic to everyone's situation, but I always try to keep perspective on that, of that at the end of the day, we're all people and we do make mistakes and it's hard to be human. And sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I do because I have kids and it's not always fun. This morning, my son decided to wake up at 6 a.m. and that's not a part of his schedule. So that would have sent my day over the rails. So I know how everyone has like a different thing going on in their life. So I always try to keep perspective on that and then maintain that work life balance for my employees because the world is crazy. There's so much going on, there's so much information that's happening. And sometimes you just need a day and we're still working. We're still trying to do our lives and pay our bills and get through the day. So I always tried to remind myself that. And then also I just don't know how to be fun. I don't know how to not have a good time.
That's awesome. I will
Yeah.
say, and this is my new thing that I tell everyone all the time. I'm like, just
Mhm.
give me grace, give people grace, give each other grace. Like,
Yes.
when you're working in an environment, especially IT, you probably get a lot of people frustrated
All the time.
trying to, and it's like they might not just be frustrated at the technology, they may have
Mhm.
85 other things on their plate that they're
Yep.
overwhelmed on, and now you're
Mhm.
getting the brunt of it. So you could take it and you could say, wow, this person is very difficult to deal with, and maybe they are, right?
Yeah.
But also you can give them grace and think about, well, maybe they're having all these other problems. How can I help make their day better?
Yep, and showing up with kindness. Like, if someone is that is a great, I think, a skill as a woman in particular. If someone is coming at you hot and, like, with attitude, just being killing them with kindness, be like, "How can I help you? What do you need me to do? I'm here to help you." And then instantly people would come way down because they see that you're calm, cool, and collected. So that was a huge learning curve for me too, because I would be quick to be like, "What? What did I do?"
You can't you can't fight darkness with darkness. You need light
Mhm,
for that. I think that's the phrase.
mhm,
You can't fight fire with fire. You need water for
mhm.
that. So if somebody's coming in very reactive, very hot, you've got to find a way to diffuse it. And especially
Yeah.
again in IT, I'm sure you experience that a lot.
Mhm. Yep, all the time.
So, Erin, when you look back at your career so far, what are you most proud of? Not on paper, but as a person, we're talking like humans here. Like, what are you most
Mhm.
proud of?
I think again, not surprising because I feel like I've talked about all the people that I work with in the past, but the relationships that I've built. I mean, meeting with you, I think this is great that we're doing this. It's really getting me out of my comfort zone too, so that's fun. But you never know who you're gonna meet, and the impact that they're gonna have on you. I'm so thankful for all the people that I got to meet because they made me the person that I am today. And I wasn't able to do that if I didn't work it out too. So I think they're pretty great.
Yeah. I will say I personally love talking to IT people because IT is in my nature because of what I do, but
Mhm.
it's not often that I get them to come on the show because a lot of times, it's the back end, the
Yes.
operations.
Yeah.
They're not used to the like stage and the lights and all the
Yeah.
cameras. So I appreciate that you got out of your comfort zone to join me here today.
Yes. Of course. I'm happy to do it.
So I love it. So, what's one piece of advice you would give women in tech or anyone aspiring to lead in a traditionally male-dominated space?
Don't be afraid to take up space, be yourself, be loud, be opinionated, be strong because like I was saying before, people might not like it, but the people that do are going to appreciate you so much more. Had so many times have had imposter syndrome. It's hard for me to talk about my professional career because I was not always confident in how I got here. Because I don't come from IT. I'm in IT, but I was at the front desk, so that was really hard for me. And then after going through this process, I was so many people reached out to me that I was never expecting were going to reach out to me and just telling me how great I am and all of the wonderful things that people keep saying, yourself included. I've always known that I can do the work. I am a worker. All my family owns businesses. I've been literally working since I was like 14 years old. I've always had a job, so I know that I'm a good worker, but being good at your job is different than that. So that was kind of eye-opening to me.
Yeah,
So just be
totally.
yourself.
I love that. Well, and I'll
Mhm.
say you said taking up space, and
Mhm.
here's the thing, quiet women never make history.
Mhm.
So, in this space,
Proud.
we've got to be disruptive, right? Just
Exactly.
saying.
Yep.
So outside of work, what drives you? Like, what are the things that get you going day to day?
Mhm. Obviously my kids. I feel like that's such a easy answer for that. Especially being the mom of 2 boys. I want them to see a strong working mom. I had a strong working mom, and I'm so thankful that I was able to have that role model, and I want them to see that too. And then and I've said it already, but my team, like, it was so easy to go to work every day because I had the best team. I worked with some really, really amazing hardworking people. So it was just those relationships. They really get me out of bed every day.
I think this is important because you've always worked in person and you had a lot of local relationships. And I think that's something that does drive you. Where are
Mhm.
you located in the world physically?
The greater Boston area is what LinkedIn
Greater
keeps
Boston
telling me.
area. You light me up every time we chat. I look forward to seeing you continue to shine. There's so much that you can do with your skill set, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that were inspired by your story here today. As you think about your journey forward and some of the
Mhm.
inspiration, maybe affirmations that you've been thinking about in your transition, anything you'd like to share with our audience who may be in a similar position?
Just keep being positive. I think it's so easy to go into the negative. I think it's so easy to go into the darkness, but continuing to be positive and knowing that, like we've said already, that things are going to change. Everything is always forever changing. And it's so much better to be positive going through it than it is to be negative because the negativity will eat you up. So be the light, especially now that everything's so dark with daylight savings changing. It's very dark right now. I know we're on different time zones, but it's literally 5 o'clock and it's dark. So it's so much easier to be positive when the sun goes down and you don't get as much sunlight. So continuing to be positive.
I love it. Thank you. And nothing lasts forever, good
Yep.
or bad. So
Yep.
just be prepared and you never know
Yep.
what's coming your way.
Yep. Exactly.
Thank you again, Erin, and thank you for joining us. And for anybody who's listening who is open to work in their transition or who has a story they'd like to share with others, please do reach out to me. This is a stage that we've created to really highlight individuals who have a great opportunity out there and they just are looking for it. So thank you again and looking forward to speaking to you all soon.